Hi, I'm Garm1, and this is Midgardia's cool crowdfunding show. I'm here today with Adam and Vic. How's it going?
Hey everybody, it's going great.
Pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
So, you folks are here to talk about Those Who Wander. So, who wants to tell me a bit about it?
I'll give Adam the reins. This is his love child, honestly.
Okay. Let's see. I've been working on my elevator pitch, so let's do this. So if you've played 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, then you're going to be pretty familiar with some of the core mechanics. There's still advantage and disadvantage. You still resolve contests by rolling a d20, things like that. But we wanted finer control over who you are as a character and how you progress. And that's what I think that's what is distinct about this is with Those Who Wander, you can have any two birth parents you want. So you can, instead of like implying that a half orc is half human, half orc, we don't make any assumptions. You just pick your birth mother, your birth father, and there's all your innate traits. And then you go on and pick your background, and that's all the skills and training and everything you get. So instead of being a dwarf and automatically knowing how to wield a battle axe, even if you were raised by elves, you don't get that right away. That's kind of tied to your background, which is pretty mechanically heavy. And then you pick an heirloom, which is a bauble, an item, a weapon, armor, a shield, something you picked up or inherited. And that grows and awakens. It grows more powerful. It develops a personality. It starts speaking to you telepathically as you go along. And then the final thing is you choose your steps. And every time the storyteller says, okay, it's time to choose a new step, you have options. One, it's left or right. It's always one or two. So you have two options and you choose them, and the two options that you might have before you are based on the option you chose last time. So it kind of like grows exponentially. This kind of, if you look at a dog pedigree chart or a or like a family tree, right? This kind of exponentially growing. One option here, one option there, determines who you become. Giving you a really good, like really fine tuning who you want to be as a character, but easy enough for the newest of players to understand.
Cool. How many steps are there in, like, is it the full 20 level progression, or how's that work?
Where were we?
How many steps are there? Are there a million? Since if you go 2 by 2 at each thing, it like just goes out into infinity. Like,
right. Obviously, that was going to be a huge problem if we continue to go two options every single time. So we decided to have gathering points, and a natural place to do that was when you get your ability increases. So at 4th level, all the step options come together, and then start spreading out again, and then come together again at 8th, and then at 12th, and so on. So so there are not. I think I think we figured it out. There would have had to have been tens or hundreds of thousands of step features, and then we decided that's not going to work. So,
It's
but I think this still gives you a wealth of options without being, without producing a 1,000-page book. So,
with like ability score improvements included, there's over 65 options you can make as you go through this thing.
yeah, I can't remember how many steps it came to, but there are a lot. There are a lot.
Yeah, if you did 2 per level for every level, there would have been 1,084,576 options in total.
So maybe at the 100 million stretch goal level.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
I said it'd be cool if we could do that, and it was like a web program that did it for us. So like 100 million stretch goal, we'll make a web program that does it.
You heard it
Right.
here first, folks. Make it happen. A month from now, you're gonna be like looking at the amount, and it's gonna be like $1 over that, and you're gonna be like, why did we tell Garm we'd do that?
Hey, if we hit that, we can hire somebody to do it. Somebody can program.
Right. But most of the credit for the step system goes to Amber Litke, who is the third member of our trio, but can't be here today. Because I wrote the first 4 steps, and then she wrote the rest, the other 16. And she just did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it's quite cool. So why don't you tell me about one of the other major elements of character creation? Vic, why don't you tell me a little bit about the backgrounds?
Yeah, so the backgrounds are split roughly evenly between I think it was myself and Adam. Like we all like talked about what we wanted to do and like got an even split between things for whoever was interested in what. And so a lot of my backgrounds are like alchemist or like a spy or an infiltrator, like specific things like that. And I had a really great time doing it because I DM every Saturday, and sometimes I forget the stuff in the DM's or in the player's guide, which says like, oh, hey, you can make up your own background. Like, this is just a guide. You can literally mix and match and take things and do whatever you want and split them in half and do all this other cool stuff. And like, while making the background, I had to do 9, I think it was. And it like, right off the bat, I like was like, oh wait, I can do this, 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 and this. So like I had the names and I had like kind of like general ideas of what they would do. But then what really took like some time and really like had me thinking about what these backgrounds would actually entail is what like I'm gonna say the wrong word. Like what improvements you get to your ability scores and like what skills you get, right? Because one, had to make sure I wasn't like double dipping because Adam, like I used a lot of Adam stuff as like for formatting, and I was like, okay, let's make sure I'm not like snatch anything from Adam because Adam was really quick about doing his backgrounds, like was done way before I was. I was like, okay, let me just take a look at this and see what pops in my head. But really trying to figure out what ability scores you got, and like I said, skills was a really fun time for me. I think my favorite one would have to be the alchemist. Like I'm a big fan of players. I love a crafting system in a tabletop game, video game, board game, anything like that. You let me make something, I'm in love with it. So I was like, okay, this background, having this alchemist background will like allow people to be able to do these different things. And so it was like a great time figuring out, okay, obviously they need alchemist tools, but what about like this? What about other skills besides that? Like what skills that you're like used to really like are quintessential to an alchemist. So like it was really fun working through that. Like all of this was kind of like a big puzzle, and it was really enjoyable just to like find the right pieces and like be like, yep, this makes this and this, and it doesn't look anything like that. And people have all these different options because of it.
I'd ask what your favorite background is, but I think we've answered that one.
Oh, it's blacksmith.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry, that's a joke. Alchemist, but it would be blacksmith right back to it though.
I take it.
Yeah, backgrounds. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. You're the one being interviewed. Go for it.
Yeah, backgrounds, I say they're more mechanically heavy because they really are. Like Vic was saying, you get your ability increases from your background instead of your steps, and we don't have classes, so obviously not there. And then you also get your saving throw proficiencies, some of your skill proficiencies, how much, what kind of equipment you start with, how much money's in your pocket, which actually we've made simpler by calling it a wealth score instead of keeping track of, oh, he wants a copper piece for the ale, I guess I'll mark that down. Now you just have a wealth score where if you're high enough, you just like, yeah, I can afford that. But backgrounds are now really mechanically heavy, and they really have a say in who your character is starting out.
Right, because in base 5th edition, I know I often just entirely forget about all my only background feature and all that.
Right? Oh yeah, and the features are pumped up a little bit too. There's not just sometimes the background features in D&D 5e just seem like flavor. These ones are more substantial.
I'm glad to hear it. And I guess we're kind of working backwards through the elements of a character. So who wants to tell me a little bit about the origin species? I believe you went with heritage.
We went with parentage.
Parentage. There are a lot of synonyms for this.
Yes. Vic, do you want to go, or do you want me to take this one?
I can take this one. I will say I do want to make it clear that majority of the actual the actual breakdown of the parentage, Adam did most of that. Adam's been a champ. I think you did between you and Amber. I believe it was you because I've only contributed like one maybe two.
Oh, right. I guess that's true. But you did the gnolls.
I did the gnolls. I wanted to talk about it because I love gnolls. They're not my favorite monster. They're not my favorite humanoid, but I do love them, right? And I always think they get a bad rep in D&D a little bit, which I mean I can understand given their origins and whatnot. But I really like the idea of monstrous humanoids being treated more like actual humanoids, and a gnoll is a humanoid. Our thing in D&D, and so but on to the actual breakdown. Sorry. What happens is for the most part you'll have two parentages. I don't think there's anybody that has one parent in this. Am I wrong on that, Adam?
So you can have one orc parent but not two. Do you mean that kind of thing?
Yeah. That's okay. So so pretty much what happens is we split the abilities that you would typically find on the different races in D&D into 1 to 2 parentages, based on balancing things and if it really makes sense to be 2 parents or 1 parent. And so, for example, for the gnoll, I'm still working on a second parent, but right now, for the first parent of the gnolls, you get a standard, standard 30 feet. You get their rampage ability, which this is based off their stat block because we don't have no playable characters yet in D&D anywhere. And so really it's really just been a balancing act to make sure that people really feel like they're playing these parentages, to make sure people feel like they're getting adequate inheritances from their parentages that they remember from the game, but also not making them too powerful and completely just unbalancing everything.
Right.
Yeah, and the design goal with parentages was to divorce all of the learned things, and strip those away, put those in backgrounds, and then what remains is your parentages, and then divide everything up so you can pick between your like if you want your birth father and birth mother to both be elves, totally doable. But if you want your birth mother to instead be an orc, that's doable too. And if you're a fan of Vic's and my work, you may know An Elf and an Orc Had a Little Baby, which is available on the Dungeon Masters Guild. That's actually we're using the same core mechanic that we used in that title, but we had to change some of it because we can only use the system reference document, only what Wizards of the Coast allows us to use, and so we rewrote some of them, and then added a few more. So
Right. So if I wanted to play like a tiefling, there would be like a, infernal parentage to pick for half of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can play a tiefling that is has one gnomish parent and one infernal parent if you want,
Nice.
which I would be excited to play.
Yeah, one of my long running complaints about D&D 5e is that you shouldn't know languages based on your like race.
Yeah.
That's incredibly goofy, especially when it comes to infernal and celestial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can't speak Norwegian.
Right. And that's why the languages are over in the backgrounds, not in the parentages.
Exactly. That's I like that. So, Vic, can you tell me a little bit about the heirlooms?
Yeah, no. Well, I can talk about so like Adam brought up like earlier in his excellent elevator pitch. A cobble, like a piece of jewelry, armor, a weapon, anything like that, and pretty much it unlocks as you grow stronger, right? So we, much like the steps are 1 through 20, we also have the heirlooms being 1 through 20, and so as you go stronger, you get new abilities and it gets incrementally stronger, right? Like there's a range between when it's like as strong as like when the abilities are like common magic items, uncommon, rare, very rare, and then 20th to cap it off, a legendary ability. And there are some really cool ones. And I think actually Adam worked, like the three of us, me, Amber, and Adam split those between us. And Adam had some really cool ones that you want to talk about yours.
Man, I'm trying to think. So I actually, after a while, I don't remember who wrote which ones because I've read them all and I love all of them.
Yep.
One of them that's cool, and I won't claim ownership over it because I think it might be Amber's, not mine. But one is just a quarterstaff, and it starts out as it's just like some stick you found, which is perfect because that's what an heirloom is at first. It's just a thing that you can hit people with or keep in your pocket, and it doesn't do anything until second level, and then it starts to have this really weird property. And I think the first one for the quarterstaff is suddenly your attacks are more powerful. That's like the first thing. You hit people a little bit better. They get hurt more. Awesome. But after a while, it starts waking up, and we describe like what voice it has in your head when it speaks to you telepathically, a little bit of personality in there, and after a while, it's like you can stick it in the ground and it becomes a tree, things like that. And I'm having a hard time remembering all of them. If I were on my computer, I would pull up some stuff and talk about it.
Do you want me to? Because I have the stuff open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
do it.
Let me grab the heirlooms real quick. There are some really cool ones. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So first one that pops up that I'm looking at is Sword of the Four Bears. Or I feel like I might be mispronouncing that. Is it Four Bears? Four Bearers?
I think forbearers?
Okay, we'll go with Four Bears. Sword of the Four Bears.
The Four Bears, yeah.
Look, don't laugh at me.
Not the Four Bears. No, it's confusing. Maybe I should rename it, but whatever.
No. It's perfect. I like it. Like Adam said, it starts off as like mundane, regular slashing item, or regular slashing item, like your standard longsword, a D8 or a D10, if you're like hitting with two-handed. And then like second level, it starts to like do some cool things, like this one in particular, like you speak or sign the command word, and then the blade shines. Something, while we're talking about heirlooms, I do want to say that we tried to be very inclusive about like how people were playing their characters. So like there'll always be an option, like either for like talking or like signing, or if it's like sight, you could also, if like you're playing a character that is a blind, or can't really see very well, you can also have like an echolocation option for something, so that people can play their characters however they want and still benefit from their heirloom. Yep, there's the word. I wanna say that I really liked the 20th level ability for this. Can I say, like, free Wayne, can I just...
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, awesome. All right, so this one is like when you attack a creature of one of the types chosen for the ancient enemy, which is an ability you get like earlier on, and like it gradually gets better. It improved ancient enemy. You can when you that has at least one head and you roll a 20 on the attack check, you can cut off one of the creature's head. If the creature can't survive without it, it automatically dies. And like, of course, it lists some immunities in case the creature has it. It might not be affected by this, but I'm a big fan of decapitation. The Vorpal Sword is I am a fan of, because it lets you decapitate an enemy sometimes. I don't give it to my players, but I would like him to give it to me if we're getting magic items. Another really good one, which I think this one is by Amber's, Loot of the Visionary.
Yeah, that's Amber's.
Yep, Loot of the Visionary. Like, it's just a scuffed and like battered but well-crafted loot that's really well attuned. And like the seemingly mundane part is like always seems to like tune itself each day at dusk. So like it's just like, that's weird, but not really magical. Like, magical lights. But then like second level, you get like something like similar to the Bard's Song of Rest. But the 20th level ability, Ballad of Legends, I read it and I was like, man, that is so, like, I was like, I'm gonna play a bard. I'm gonna not be the DM one day and play a bard and have this. Like, I'm gonna say, let's play 20th level games. But like, as an action, you begin a ballad. 10 minutes, you and any friendly creature within 30 feet have advantage on saving checks against any spell that targets only you. In addition, if you roll a 20 for the check and the spell is 7th level or lower, the spell has no effect on you and instead targets the caster using the slot level, spell save, DS, attack bonus, and spell casting ability of the caster. And you can do this twice per day, right before a long rest. And like, I love things that flip stuff back on casters. Like, I think I have an ability like that, not a 20th level ability, so it's really way toned down for one of my own. But like, that feels like something that should always be a part of like any game that involves magic, being able to turn it around on people. And I definitely don't. Well, there might be a magic item that could do that in D&D as it is, but I want there to be more. So this one is really cool. But yeah, lots of cool ones, lots of cool stuff in here.
I like that a lot. And yeah, so this is your Excalibur, your Master Sword, your the thing that makes you the cool guy. I like that. Speaking of the way damage works in Those Who Wander, I am aware that you change who rolls a bit for attacks. Is that correct? Players roll for defense. Is that how'd that come about?
All yours, Adam. Oh no! Oh no!
It's all yours, Adam. Nope.
Dang. Well, that came about because it's a lot funner to be rolling dice than not to be rolling dice. And it's definitely a lot of less bookkeeping on the GM's part. Adam has a much more in-depth explanation for that than I do, but that's pretty much the gist of it. Like, I am one of the designers here, so is Amber, but definitely, like I said, this is definitely Adam's love child. Like, he brought me onto this project, much like he did for An Elf and an Orc. Oh, yes.
Welcome back, Adam.
Welcome back.
I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, Adam, I'm glad you're here.
All right.
Okay.
So we got a basic overview of the reasoning for players rolling for defense, and rolling dice is fun. Is there more to it, Adam?
More to yeah. I don't know if Vic wanted this or Amber wanted this, but I really wanted this.
I like it.
I am a DM, or I guess in those who wonder, a storyteller. I prefer it slightly to being a player, and I just want to roll less often. I don't want to bother with all these dice all the time. I want to do my job, which I think is to tell a good story, and I feel like there were a couple of ways the dice were getting in the way for me. One of them was rolling for initiative. I hate that, like, you're like building up to this big narrative moment, like suddenly the prison door falls with it clang at your feet, and there standing before you is the most massive ogre you've ever seen. Roll for initiative. Okay, let me write that down. Let me I hate that. So we've actually replaced the initiative with different combat orders. There are 4 to choose from, and depending on the situation, the narrative situation in which the combat begins, you just choose one of those 4 orders, and then go from there. And I really like that. The other way that we've tried to make it simpler for the storyteller was that they don't roll anything during a combat unless the players force them to by making them roll a saving throw, which we call a saving check, but same thing. And for me, that frees me up to like, and it's so much more exciting for a player, I think, to like roll to defend themselves instead of waiting for the DM to roll to attack you. I just think it puts more of a spotlight on the player. Sorry if I'm going over anything that Vic just said. I couldn't hear anyone for a minute there.
It was very short. I was like, just before moving. But hey, I do have a question for you, Adam.
Yeah.
How does it work for the monsters? Like, if I'm the storyteller, am I gonna be like the players are rolling a defense thing? Am I also rolling defense stuff for my monsters? Or like, how's that work?
Nope. Monsters don't roll defense. Players roll their attacks, and players roll their defense, and the monsters only have to roll saving checks. And that, I think, 9 times out of 10, that will be the only thing that non-player creatures will roll in a combat.
And so
Yeah,
monsters
maybe
have...
10 times.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
No. You're the one being interviewed.
I was just saying, like, I think it actually might be 10 times out of 10. I can't think of another instance where the storyteller has to roll, except for saving throws.
Maybe to have a monster like make a jump over something to get to the players or something like that.
Yeah. Oh no, because those are actually skill scores. So.
So is there like a static attack value for monsters then?
Yeah. Yep. It's like rolling against a DC when you roll your defense.
Is that, if you look at the standard monster manual, is that fairly easy to convert to this paradigm?
Yeah, we found that we had to, like, there was some number that we always had to subtract. We had to like add 10 and then subtract this number, and I can't remember what number it was. I think it's 4, maybe 6.
I think it's 6. I think it's
okay, 6. So we figured it out. It's all in my notes, and it works. We did a lot of math. Or Amber did a lot of math while we sort of watched her do it, because she has a degree in game design, so she knows stuff. and now the math works, and yeah, it's fairly simple to convert, and we'll include a conversion guide for people who are trying to convert their homebrew monsters or whatever. We don't call them monsters, we call them non-player creatures, because sometimes they're adorable, not monsters.
Like the flump. Well, the flump's
Like the
not in it.
flump.
'Cause the flump might not be in it. I don't know if that's OGL, but the flump is an adorable creature.
The flump
Yeah, how
terrifies me.
could you put that in a monster manual? It's a flump.
It eats people's brains, dude.
But in the
your
most
brain's
adorable
still
way
there.
possible.
So, what I'm getting is that a character generated with those who wander should be compatible with like any 5e module out there, right? Like I could theoretically run a party composed of standard 5e characters and. Ooh.
Definitely.
Yep, we were very committed to making it so your 5e adventures do not become obsolete. You can run any of them.
So this will still leave you with a like 5e compatible character, and they'll play nice with everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should.
I would suggest mixing and matching them though. Like if anybody's thinking, oh, what if we run 5e and those who wander together? So some characters are doing the standard 5e 1 through 20 and others are doing steps. I'd pick one or the other, but very fun if you want to try, I guess. Have a good time.
Yeah. There'll be some confusion like, are you a wizard? Kind of. Are you a fighter? A little.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so probably don't mix and match them, and definitely don't mix and match sub elements because that's gonna go bad. Yeah. So, Vic, why don't you tell me a little bit about the stretch goals?
Okay. The stretch goals are like, if there was going to be anything that I was going to say is like me, it would be stretch goals because I think I'm doing the most of them. I think I'm doing most of them, but because I had a lot of ideas, right? So like, well, can I talk about? There's two I want to talk about. One that Sorry, I lose my train of thought sometimes. Okay, so one that I'm super excited to do is it's a whole new curse system for lycanthropy, vampirism, and hags, as they were, that like to curse people and whatnot. The lycanthropy and vampirism is like lycanthropy and vampirism in D&D can be very hit or miss. Like it can be very, very strong or very, very weak in some places. It's not fun on either side. Like if it's too strong, it'll break something. If it's too weak, it's like I'm having all of these drawbacks and nothing good is happening. So the way I thought would be a good way to handle this is to turn it into a point buy system instead. So let's say you get lycanthropy, right, from a werebear or something. Let's say it's a werebear, right? And something important to note is like there's no alignment for lycanthropy, right? Like different lycanthropes in D&D have different alignments. Like werebears are like neutral good or something like that, and rats are lawful evil or chaotic evil. None of that makes absolutely no sense. And so pretty much it breaks down into 4 like tiers. So like the tiers of play. And what happens is when you get like let's say you get lycanthropy at first level, you get it and you automatically have X amount of like detriments, right? So sensitivity, like vulnerability to silver, like any of your standard like lycanthropos things, right? There are like a few that you automatically get, but you automatically get X amount of points to buy positive traits, right? So like, I can get my hybrid form, like that'll cost X amount of points. Or I can buy the ability to be resistant to damage that isn't from silver weapons or magical weapons or like that. However, if somebody wants more points than what you're given at each level, you can get more points by taking on a voluntary detriment. So I combed through all of the lore for lycanthropes, vampires, and I was like, all right, some cool like detrimental things that we can take, we can turn it into a thing, we can beef them up, we can like lower them down. And so, for example, werewolves and wolfsbane, like you can take a vulnerable to wolfsbane, and it'll give you 1, maybe 3 points, right? And then it lets you go in and buy more within your tier, right? So like while the detriments are for any level as of right now, that might change. Like if somebody really wants to take like a super bad detriment to get a bunch of points, who am I to stop them? The DM might have something to say about that, but it's not my game. So while the detriments don't have any tiers on them just yet, like I said, that might change. The positives do. So like the 4 tiers of play, to make sure it's still balanced within like, so like you don't get a first level lycanthrope that somehow got like 5, 10, 15 points and is now immune to all damage except for magical items, like completely unbalancing the game. But they can take their detriments, buy their points, get more things within the tier that they're in, or save up their points until they get to a higher tier. So as far as hags go, I like the flavor that hags will curse people, but the curse spell itself or remove curse is all kind of like boring and not really thematic. So the plan for that as of right now is to come up with a number of cool different curses and like ways to break them that are actually like thematic. Of course, you can still use remove curse if you really want that to be an option, or like remove curse, but also a special ingredient or like a grand trek or something. The second one that I'm super excited to do, that I'm also going to be doing with Amber, is a crafting system that's going to include like magical items and also potentially like potions. Because like I said earlier, love making potions. I also love crafting things. Like smith and potion making are one of my favorite things in Skyrim, and super excited to start working with Amber on that, especially because I know there's going to be a lot of math involved in this, and I'm like, I already know it's going to be a problem, but Amber and like her excellent brain and like background in good design is going to make this such a great crafting system. And I'm like I'm very optimistic that we're going to get to all those stretch goals, because like we're doing great right now as far as funding goes. I'm just like, let's hit them all. Let's hit them all.
Yeah, hopefully we do that.
Hopefully, yeah. And like you said, you're doing pretty well. There's what 22 days left to go, and you're like, it shows me all the values in Canadian, so it's like 3,000 Canadian away from the goal.
We're about 80% funded, so yeah, we're getting really close, and it's only been a week.
Right?
Do you folks have any other elements of Those Who Wander that you want to bring up while you're here?
If I could just, I think we touched on this, but I wanted to kind of highlight it, that no matter who you, one of the goals I had is that no matter who you are in the real world, you can see yourself in this game. So we have options for playing a blind or deaf character. We have options for playing other forms of disability. If you want a character with a prosthetic leg or arm, if you want a character who uses a wheelchair. We also think that diversity and inclusion are really important in all aspects. So we're trying to embrace that with the kind of art we commission and how the characters look. And I think you can start to see that. We just have 3 characters, but I love on the Kickstarter campaign that are fully illustrated, but I love them so much. The artist Nito_RE did such a good job. So I just wanted to make sure that we mentioned that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a long-running issue in the D&D like development community is trying to get that diversity and inclusion in there.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of our backers have latched onto it. They really like that aspect of Those Who Wander.
Sorry, Vicky.
Sorry,
yeah,
Vic.
no. I didn't mean to cut y'all off. But speaking of like inclusion and whatnot, also part of that is like rewriting some of the lore for some of these for some of the non-player creatures, right? So like obviously you have, as Adam said previously, you can be an orc, you can have an half orc, you can have orc parentage. There's definitely a lot of sentient creatures in D&D, especially ones that players can play, that have a lot of like real world oppressive language tied to them, because of stereotypes and like the things that we all consume living in this world that we live in. And like it's something I'm really passionate about. I know Adam is also passionate about it, like just trying to remove that stuff from it. And so as far as like the NPC like lore sections go, we're doing some like really fun things with that, with like orcs and gnolls and just the different types of humanoids or like human-like, so like fae too, that like might get a bad rap just because they have some weird stereotypes tied to them, and just trying to remove that from the game so people can like have some interesting lore, but some that isn't like based in real world oppression.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this seems like an excellent project, and I think it's gonna open up a lot of interesting character choices for a lot of people. And I am glad.
Yeah, we hope so.
And I am glad to hear that there are not 1 million some capstone options.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah.
I would never be able to make a choice again in my life.
But it's always just a choice between two options. Whoops.
Oh, well.
There you go. We're very excited, obviously.
Yeah, and you should be. This is going to be really cool. And yeah, any final words from you two?
So you can follow along with what we're doing. Of course, on the Kickstarter page, it's Those Who Wander, not the indie film that was released a few years ago, the other Those Who Wander. Or I'm on Twitter at Adam Makes TTRPG.
I'm at Twitter on Vic, the 2 H's in that. Also, just to give a shout out to our wonderful try designer, there's 3 of us, who could not be here. Amber Lakeed was amazing, and everybody should like know her name.
All right, and yeah, there will be a link to the Kickstarter and y'all's Twitters down below. So yeah, go back the project. Why are you still doing
Awesome.
watching this video? Back the project. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And for those watching at home, have a good night, everybody.